I feel really dumb doing this, but in this age, if you don't have a YouTube channel, like, what are you really doing with your life? So, welcome to Ole Lady Code, a channel where I take Reddit threads and turn them into working prototypes. I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance. I am getting over a cold, so I have still a little bit of laryngitis, so my voice is not the best. Um, that's not to say this isn't my voice always. My voice is a little bit deep, but I'm going to go ahead and apologize for the raspiness that you'll get in this video because of my laryngitis. This is the part of the video where I formally introduce myself. Lorraine, product designer, 14 years experience, worked with a lot of great companies. Check me out on LinkedIn. You can see who I work for. I'm not going to name drop. But I created this channel mainly to showcase my skills with vibe coding and using AI to enhance my design process. So let's get into today's topic. I like to find my ideas on Reddit. There are a couple subreddits that I follow. This one, Somebody Make This, is one that I really like. So I scrolled and I found this Reddit suggestion. This idea stopped me in my tracks. It made me chuckle. It made me really want to see how this would work in real life. So the suggestion is a weather app, a weather radar app that plays metal when a storm is rolling in. So let's figure out how we can create this. Okay, so everybody has a preference. Um, there's so many LLMs out there right now. I'm not here to tell you which LLM to use. I'm really just here to demonstrate how you can use these LLMs to build out products using a design process that will give you a product that you could sell or you could just put in your portfolio. But I digress. I like to normally, when I'm doing a project like this, I guess I'm just basic, I like to use ChatGPT. So I will jump into ChatGPT. I start every interaction with ChatGPT with context. Um, I ask ChatGPT a question to kind of give a baseline of what we're going to be talking about in that chat. I find that this helps to reduce hallucinations. Um, I find that the longer you're in a chat, you can start to experience some hallucinations with the LLM. But as we start to see that in this chat, I will show you how I get around it. So let's go ahead and jump into ChatGPT and I'll show you how I start one of these chats. Okay, so I know that video probably seemed like a lot. I'm going to break it down into really simple chunks and understand that I'm just using ChatGPT to conceptualize the idea that I'm trying to create, to understand if it's going to solve a real user problem, and to figure out how I can quickly create a prototype, be it a clickable prototype in Figma or an actual coded prototype that I vibe code with one of my tools, which we'll get into that in just a second. But first, I'm going to break down exactly what I did in ChatGPT so that you can follow. Okay, as stated before, you always want to start with context. I don't care what tool you're using. Uh, AI needs to understand what you are trying to do before it can actually help you build a thing. I see so many people go into uh, ChatGPT or whatever LLM, Gemini, Perplexity, Cursor, and they start, with just they start as if they're talking to a human that understands human context, and they just give a statement with no context. That is your LLM will do its best to understand what you mean, but this is a surefire way to have your AI start to hallucinate. So in this project, I started with, "Hey, what do you know about weather radar apps? Like, what do you know about it?" This basically getting the ChatGPT in this case to understand we're going to talk about weather radar apps in this chat. That's going to be our focus. So I want you to understand what we're doing. Okay. After you have set your context with your LLM, in this case, ChatGPT, what I'm using, um, you want to move on to setting your intent. So you spent some time understanding what the AI understands about your topic. Now you want the AI to understand what you plan to do with this topic, and how you expect the AI to help you complete this topic. So, stating your intent is very, very important. You want to be very clear on exactly what your expectation is for the output from this chat. For me, I just said, uh, I want to build a weather app that plays music when a storm is coming, right? So from there, the AI now understands, okay, we started with context. Um, what are radar apps? What are radar apps? How do they work in the weather? Um, you know, what are their core functions? These are all the questions that I asked before stating my intent to the LLM or ChatGPT, before I ever stated my intent. So now when I state my intent, the AI is like, "Oh, I understand why you asked me all those other questions. And now I can break down your intent into chunks that will help you achieve your goal." I always say okay when I start these clips, so I'm going to not do that this time. Here we are at the last step, and this is really a important step in still creating context. And this is going to make sense in a second. Um, but I just want to say first, everybody out there that is scared of code, I would suggest learning a simple tech stack: HTML, CSS. You can stop there. You can try to learn JavaScript. JavaScript gets a little bit intense, but if you know enough HTML, CSS, If you know enough to recognize tags, you can build anything. And I'm going to demonstrate that. But I just basically want to say at this step, you want to ask your LLM, ChatGPT, whatever you're using, to build you a simple front end. This is not so that you can be a coder. This really now becomes a bridging of the gap, a bridging of your knowledge, and the gap of the AI knowledge. AI does not understand human thinking. It mimics human thinking. But if you write in a language that AI can understand, mathematics, coding is mathematics, you now are speaking the language of the AI. So, in this step, you definitely want to ask your AI to create you a simple front end. Simple. Right now, you might not understand it, but after you've looked at HTML probably about the 50th time, you're going to start to recognize some of the patterns. It's really simple to learn. Okay, so now we have a front end for exactly what this app needs to do, how it needs to function. The LLM understands my intent, it understands the context, and now we've got code that any tool, any AI will understand if you drop it in. It's going to make sense in a second. So from here, once I've created my simple UI, I am now going to leave ChatGPT. There are a couple ways that I can go, right? If I am creating a clickable prototype in Figma, I might go directly to Figma. Figma has AI now. I may go into Figma and just start the whole process over of prompting to get to what I want this tool to look like. And that's going to be something that's super important. You will get this front end will be a functional front end that you could say, oh, I'm done. I created the app. However, people consume with their eyes. So if your app is not beautiful, it's very possible it will get looked over. It could be a super helpful app, but people consume with their eyes. If it doesn't seem beautiful, or like some designer like myself designed it, people will overlook it. So we're going to do one more step in ChatGPT. Now that we've got our front end, we're going to create a prompt. We're going to ask ChatGPT to create a prompt that we can take into our next tool to finish up the development of this app. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into that now. was able to develop simple HTML in ChatGPT, a prompt to use in a reasoning LLM. The one that I use is V0, and come up with a beautiful working prototype for an application that I could actually do a little bit of do a little bit more work on and package it up and create an app in the App Store or create a website that I could monetize. Um, this is just an example of being able to, with a little bit of planning and a little bit of understanding, coming to these tools with a strategy and know how to come out the other end with something that could possibly make you money. I actually would say this took me probably about, I would say, 5 hours to complete. Um, Mainly because I am recording these videos as I'm also writing out the application. So it took about 5 hours with editing and with actually coding. So it's not something that is long to do. If this is something that, if you have an idea or a tool that you would like to vibe code with me, subscribe to this channel and also send me a comment. Drop a comment below. I'm happy to collaborate with anyone who would like to create an experience like this. Thanks. I made it. That's a wrap on the first episode of Ole Lady Code. I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope you've learned something. My goal is to publish videos like this once a week. I hope that you will join me to learn more about vibe coding and really learn how to create a process that you can use, uh, a repeatable process that you can use to jump into these tools, to create businesses, to create applications, anything that you want to do. In this day and age, we all need to know a little bit about AI. There's a lot of hype about AI coming to take jobs. I don't worry about that because I believe that as long as you grow and you learn how to use the tools, you will never become obsolete. So I hope you'll join me again for Ole Lady Code as we build another uh, Reddit thread into a beautiful working prototype. Thanks.